I want to talk about the Firefox web browser. Shepard, do you use that? What browser do you use?
I have different ones for different purposes. I use Chrome for business stuff, and then, I use Chrome, Firefox, and Opera. Those are kind of my three. Okay. I think Firefox is probably half of what I use, though.
Well, I hope by the end of the show you will uninstall it. So a lot of people use it because it is the alternative to Google, right? You don't have to wire yourself into the Google mothership. You don't have to worry that Google's spying on you. It is the open source. It is the most popular open source browser, which makes it sort of inherently more trustworthy. 3 or 4 years. I'm a developer by trade. I came up starting with coding at card tables, shoulder to shoulder with other people that were barely paid anything to write, like code monkeys, basically. And I worked my way up until I was the CTO of startup companies. That's what I do by trade now. It's what I love doing, competing in the free market in information technology. And so one of the things I like doing, I have my own personal projects. Several years ago, I started a company with a Chrome extension, a browser extension, for Facebook that would encrypt all of your Facebook posts such that only the people you wanted to see them could see them. Not even Facebook could snoop on you. It was called Face Mask. I think it technically still exists and works. I haven't updated it in a while, though. My first experience was with Mozilla. Mozilla is the group of people that developed Firefox. My first experience with them was trying to get this extension accepted to their app store. And it was a short dive into the quagmire that is what they consider acceptable to add to their app store. And it was banned from their app store at one point, just for giving you the ability to encrypt your own GD posts on your own GD Facebook page. Anyway, then if you've watched their history, as many open source projects have gone, they have been subsumed. They have been taken over by the virus of the social justice Marxism. A lot of open source projects are succumbing to this right now. And one of the first to succumb to it years ago was the Mozilla developer team. So now what we have, and I'm trying to make this case to you, Shepard, what we have right now is the best way to describe what's going on online right now today since January 6th is an outright internet civil war. We have these massive tech companies that are deplatforming everyone they disagree with. Everyone, there's hundreds of thousands of people being displaced right now from massive personalities to tiny nobodies. Lines are being drawn. Alternative platforms are appearing and are resisting and are being taken down. Parler was the big Twitter alternative, and Amazon just said, nope, you don't get to use our servers anymore. And so Parler's going to go offline at midnight tonight, I believe, is when Amazon's going to kick them off, and they're going to have to find new servers. There is a lot of calls, especially on the Twitter insanity sphere verse, for people that were at the protests at the Capitol to be doxxed. They want people to find who these people are by picture, publish their names, addresses, or whatever, and identify them so that these people can be, harassed and whatever. And then I want you to see what I saw from Mozilla. To me, this is going to be sort of for me, this was the straw on the camel's back. This was the Mozilla Foundation endorsing the entire thing and calling for more of it, more censorship, more takedowns and cancel culture. And this is not just some random company like Johnson & Johnson. They make baby wipes and they also want to cancel somebody. They want to be, they want a virtue signal. Don't care about that. Just make fucking baby wipes, please. This is an internet. This is an internet browser. This is your portal to the internet. And these people that are in charge of this portal to the internet want it controlled and locked down and filtered And I just want to read a few things from them. Okay, so this is the tweet that caught my eye. This week, we saw the culmination of a 4-year disinformation campaign orchestrated by the president. We have to acknowledge how the internet was misused to get here, and we have to change it. And so, of course, I had to click their link to see on their blog this article. We need more than deplatforming. There is no question that social media played a role in the siege and takeover of the U.S. Capitol on January 6th. Since then, there has been a significant focus on the deplatforming of President Donald Trump. By all means, the question of when to deplatform a head of state is a critical one. When should platforms make these decisions? Blah, blah, blah. But as reprehensible as the actions of Donald Trump are, the rampant use of the internet to foment violence and hate and reinforce white supremacy is about more than any one personality. Donald Trump is certainly not the first politician to exploit the architecture of the internet this way, and he won't be the last. We need solutions that don't start after the untold damage has been done. Changing these dangerous dynamics requires more than just the temporary silencing or permanent removal of bad actors from social media platforms. Additional precise and specific actions must also be taken. Reveal who is paying for advertisements and how much they are paying and who is being targeted. Commit to meaningful transparency of platform algorithms so we know how and what content is being amplified, to whom, and the associated impact. Turn on by default the tools to amplify factual voices over disinformation. This is an actual change to the browser that they're talking about. Turning on tools that amplify factual voices. Shepard, what do you think a factual voice is for the Mozilla Foundation?
You know, this is kind of ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, obviously, whoever the primary stockholders are, whatever they think is what is reasonable and true and good. Yeah. And there's an analogy I've used for social media, more not search platforms, but it kind of applies here too. Like, I think of them as a cafe, and you walk in and you see a friend and you say, "Hey, how are you doing?" And they say hi, and you see another friend and you have a longer conversation with them. And then you go over and talk to another friend and you give somebody a thumbs up, and then you leave when you want. It's just kind of a casual little neighborhood cafe to stop into. So then this is almost like saying we're only going to let people talk about the things we want them to talk about when they come in for a cup of coffee and hash browns. Like, that's ridiculous.
And the reason why I'm not ignoring this, like all the other companies that have made these calls, like literally, I think somebody that made toilet paper put out a tweet that was like, yeah, the violence was bad. You know, Trump, Orange Man bad. Like, I don't care. The reason why this one made me talk to you guys and spend your time, the audience, you guys that are watching right now, the reason why I'm talking about this is because this is a doorway to the information. This could immediately be a gatekeeper to the world for you. And if I know how they like to do this stuff, you won't even know when it happens. Just like with Google, things will just get deranked transparently. When you search for things that would normally show up won't. And your image of the world will be skewed. It's like gaslighting. That is what it is. That is like Google. When you use the Google search engine, you are being gaslit. They are making you think the world is different than it is by manipulating what you see.
I didn't know that until last year.
Really?
And my wife and I were listening to a book on tape, and they were on. I'm an old man, a book on tape. We were listening on the 8-track and on Audible, and they basically said, "Oh, we're not going to tell you what you're going to find. Just go to Google and type in white family and see what pictures come up in images. And then type in black family and see what images come in. Type in straight couple, see what comes up. Type in gay couple and see what comes up." And they said, if you really want to see a straight couple, that's what you want to look at. But then Google says, no, you bigoted, horrible human being. We are going to show you straight couples and gay couples and every kind of couple we can think of. And nothing wrong with any kind of couple. It's just, wait a minute, I thought I was looking for blue and you're showing me red? What? Yeah, I didn't even know it until last year.
Yeah, and so this right here is enough for me to uninstall this browser. Like, I'm just not even like they're. To be honest, as a technologist, they've gotten a little bit behind over the past 2 years. Anyway, they took down my harmless extension that did nothing but help you have privacy on Facebook. I can't see supporting this anymore because there are alternatives. There is. Most people don't know this, and we'll just start from the ground up, considering, like, I'm going to talk like my mother, who normally wouldn't care about this stuff, right? Almost everybody uses Chrome, which is Google's browser. Chrome is actually several steps removed from the basic source code open source browser, an open source browser called Chromium. So Chromium is the open source code that a bunch of people can contribute to, can review to make sure it doesn't have spyware built in. They can see the actual code. And if you wanted to, you could right now go to the Chromium code repository, download it, compile it, and have a browser that looks almost exactly and functions almost exactly like Chrome does. Because Chrome is the Chromium browser with a bunch of Google stuff jammed up its ass, basically. So, so there is that option. All of you can go and do that.
Thanks for talking to us just like you'd tell your mom. This is great. I love
it. My mom's probably watching. Then there's another one. So you have Chromium at the top as kind of the source of this, or the trunk. We'll do it like a tree. Chromium is the trunk of the tree, the roots. And then up from there, you have a couple branches. One is Chrome, which is Google's flavor. Another one is Brave, which is another company that took the Chromium core, added some weird cryptocurrency stuff, added some ad blockers, added some other privacy-related stuff, like the ability to actually use the Tor. I don't want to get into the detail, but like the Tor anonymous internet is built in now. So they basically took Chromium and tried to make it a more private, free browser. There was another one that was Chromium-based. Gab, the company that made the Gab social network, forked Chromium as well and made the Gab browser and had some other stuff integrated with it. And a year ago, I was recommending people use that one. They have stopped maintaining it for a while now, so I no longer recommend the Gab browser. But as of now, my preferred browser, daily driver browser, is Brave. I don't really use the crypto stuff. You don't have to. You can turn it off. You can ignore it. The privacy stuff, the ad blockers, okay. The Tor browser thing, pretty cool. I would definitely not recommend using it if you're doing some shady stuff on the Tor internet. I would definitely suggest the Tor browser for that. But anyway, so my recommendation is Brave. Shepard, I hope, if for no other reason than this mess right here, you would consider getting rid of Firefox. That's definitely my recommendation as of now.
I will do it. You know what's funny is my computer was gone today, my primary laptop, getting its annual tune-up, and I pulled out an old one to use, and I noticed that my primary browser on that was, in fact, Brave. So it's funny. I haven't used it in a year, and today was the first time, and now you're telling me this. So you've sold me. I'll trust you.
Yes. All right, cool.
As long as you promise not to get a nasally voice and say, it's really easy. You just download Linux and then you get the dual overhead megabyte camshaft and get all this stuff. The techies just blow me away. I can't understand any of it. So, okay, I can do Brave.
Yeah, it's Brave. And it's just like Chrome.
Great.
It's no big deal. Yep. And there's no Google, which is great. It's good. And I think you can even, I think it even defaults to the DuckDuckGo search engine, which I would definitely recommend everyone switch to instead of Google. And don't take my word for it. Open 2 tabs, do a search on Google, do the same search on DuckDuckGo, and see how much you're being gaslit. It's a great eye opener.